the dot at 9 o'clock. But just for everyone joining the webinar, thanks for showing up. We're excited to have you. We have Laura here, and so she's going to go ahead and get into the presentation. But as as it goes up, if you just want to drop in a few questions, and we'll kind of go from there. But I will let you take it away, Laura.
Okay, brilliant. Hi, everybody. So thank you for coming today to the webinar. I am going to start kind of rolling through for you and save your questions till the end. We're going to have a little Q&A time, so let's go. All right, so I work with Global Base Camps. Obviously, you're familiar with us if you're joining the webinar today. And today we're going to talk about Southeast Asia and the areas that we specialize in the region and help you familiarize yourself with the countries that we offer, the best times to go, lots of information, and hopefully get you excited about perhaps traveling there yourself. So a little bit about me. Hi. This is a picture of me with my kids. We were in Indonesia last year and we had a great time. So I've done a lot of travel over my life. I love traveling, obviously, so I'm in the right line of work. Um, I recently just got back from Norway and I'm heading off to Japan in the next couple of weeks as well. It's Asia is somewhere that I go to constantly, even though there's so many places to visit in the world. So obviously I have a great deal of love for it. Couple quick things. We'll talk about food later, but if you do go to Southeast Asia and you go to Myanmar, the toke, the salads there are so phenomenal. I actually have some banana flowers in my fridge because I'm going to make one of them later. They're so good. All right. So our focus today, we're going to discuss the countries, the different options, the seasonality, so you can select the correct time to go to these different destinations, some tourist pitfalls that some of you may be aware of, some may be new to you, ethical travel, which is a huge focus for us at Global Base Camps. We really want to make sure that when you're visiting a destination, you're having a positive impact where you go, and we're not, doing that, popping into a country and damaging it in any way. That's against our ethos. And then how can we help you have the best trip possible? So some of the countries that we specialize in, this is Southeast Asia. You can tell I kind of fudged the map a little bit. So if you see somewhere missing, it's not because it doesn't exist. These are just the countries that we specialize in here. So Burma or Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, which is in tiny little font, Malaysia, and Indonesia. We can also assist with visits to Singapore if you like, but I'm not going to really focus on Singapore for this particular webinar. So which country is the best fit? So best fit can be dependent on a lot of different factors. So for instance, Thailand has the longest running tourism industry. So it is probably the easiest place to land if you've never been to Southeast Asia before. It has all of the creature comforts and their tourism industry is really top notch because they've had so much practice. That is followed closely by Vietnam. And then if you're going somewhere a little bit more off the beaten path, want to have a bit more of an intense cultural experience, then Laos or Myanmar might feel like a better fit for you. They've been less affected by Western tourism, but they do still have all the creature comforts, and our teams there are amazing. So, you can delve into these areas and feel very comfortable throughout. So each country has its own unique culture. They all share some influences from their neighboring cultures. And let's see, if you're looking for fauna, for instance, elephants, orangutans, Komodo dragons, that's going to be helping us decide where's the best fit for you. If you want beaches or particular activities, we're going to be looking at the time of year, which area of the country to go to. And also, we do combination trips. So you might want to go to Thailand to experience some things there, but then maybe pop over to Siem Reap in Cambodia and see the absolutely amazing temples there. So it can be a mix. And then again, your perfect trip is going to be dependent on you. So one of the biggest questions I get is, where should I go? What should I not miss? And that answer is different for every single person. And it might be different for every person in your family, which further complicates matters, but that's why we're here. All right. So Laos, or Laos, if you prefer, is one of the destinations that we offer. It's absolutely beautiful. You have rivers, mountains, so much culture. Elephants, definitely a spot where you can go and visit them. We have Cambodia. You can see the temples of Angkor Wat, Siem Reap. That's actually Ta Prohm up in the left-hand corner there. You've got Tonle Sap. You have amazing markets, a lot of wonderful culture and activities there. We have Malaysia. Malaysia or Indonesia, you can visit the orangutans in Borneo because Borneo is split up between those two countries. You can have beaches. You can meet little sloth bears like the gentleman up top. Hiking, amazing food because they have really a big mix of cultures there. Thailand, probably the one place that everybody has on their bucket list if they've not been to Asia yet, for the amazing beaches, the amazing food. That woman doesn't have any mangosteen, which I was waxing poetic about earlier, but that is some amazing fruit she has on her her boat as well. Floating markets, lantern festivals, a little bit of everything. Vietnam, amazing food, culture, off the beaten path experiences along the Mekong, hiking up in the north, local crafts and activities, local ethnic groups, hill tribes, lots and lots going on there as well. Indonesia, we have so many options in Indonesia because the islands just spread all over. You can go and see the Komodo dragons. You can experience Hinduism in Bali. You can go to dances at the local temples. There's a proboscis monkey right down there hanging out. So there's a lot to see. It is very diverse. Myanmar, right now, we're not promoting it per se because of the junta. I'm happy to discuss that with anyone who is interested in going. We can definitely arrange a safe trip for you there, but it is more complex. So it's not probably the first place you'd want to go if you've not been to Southeast Asia yet. I visited 3 times and it's absolutely phenomenal and I love it dearly. All right. So talking about seasons, when is the best time for me to go? The dry season is most people's preferred time to visit. Reason being, you're going to have less rain, the weather's going to be generally nicer, the conditions on the sea are going to be better if you're snorkeling or diving or if you're taking any boat trips. So the dry season varies depending on the specific country. I'm not going to delve into Malaysia too much because it's kind of an in between, but we can elaborate more on that if you're interested in traveling there. In the mainland countries on Southeast Asia, so excluding Indonesia for this little moment, the dry season is November through May. And it can vary a little bit based on geography. So, like Koh Samui in Thailand, you're going to have better weather a little bit longer. You're going to avoid the rains because they're protected by the peninsula. Indonesia's dry season is opposite that of the continental Southeast Asia countries. So, if you want to go to Southeast Asia, you could pretty much always hit a dry season if you're open to where you go. So May to early October is the dry season in Indonesia. The wet season on the mainland is obviously the same time as Indonesia's dry, so it's that May to October period. And then it just flips. Certain places in Indonesia, like Raja Ampat, is good to travel because it's so far away. It's over by Papua New Guinea. So talk to us if you have your heart set on a destination. You can still travel during those times, and it actually can save you money because it's less expensive to go to a place off season. I visited Indonesia during the rainy season and Thailand and many other places, and it's still wonderful if you don't mind a bit of rain. And that rain can sometimes be monsoons. A bit of rain can sometimes be an absolute downpour. I personally find it kind of fun, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. It's also the green season in a lot of areas during the wet season, which means it's stunning. It's really beautiful. Places like Bagan in Myanmar, which is a desert area, is in bloom, and it's such a nice time to visit. So keep your mind open because you never know. The hottest months of the year tend to be late March through May in Southeast Asia because it's just when the heat is just hiked up to 40 Celsius, over 100 degrees on some days, and the humidity doesn't really let up. So it can be pretty bad. If you're not accustomed to heat, we usually don't recommend you travel during those times. Um, Yes, they have air conditioning in the hotels, and yes, you can hop into the water and cool off, but you're going to have days of touring where you're not going to really be able to escape that heat. So it's not everyone's favorite. Shoulder season is an excellent time to travel. We call the shoulder season just that period between the seasons. So When I was last in Indonesia, it was the shoulder season. We visited in late March into April, and we did experience some rain, but it was also beautiful and it was quieter than it would have been during the high season. So if you're trying to, you don't mind a little bit of the weather, but you're trying to save on cost, or you want to go when it's a little less busy, the shoulder seasons might be right for you. Festive is what we call the holiday season. So the end of the year, Christmas, New Year, etc. period. That you need to plan pretty far in advance because everybody wants to travel then. Kids are off school, families have free time, people want to celebrate. So that is typically from December 15th to January 15th, roughly, just to give you an idea. Plan as far ahead as possible. 6 months to a year is great to just give yourself the best options. Lunar New Year is another thing you want to be careful of. Lunar New Year is next year going to be January 29th to February 16th. It is a longer period because Asians love to celebrate. So you're going to see a lot of domestic travel during that period. And people from China, people from Vietnam, people from all over are going to be traveling and celebrating. So it's usually best to avoid or book far enough ahead that it's not problematic for you. And then there are little, not little, but smaller holidays like Songkran, the water festival in Thailand, where everybody has like super soakers or dumps buckets of water off of trucks at you. If that sounds fun, that's April 13th to 16th in Thailand. So we can let you know if a holiday or something like that coincides with your trip or if it would be best to avoid because of a holiday. So this is another holiday in Thailand when they float the lanterns. This is a really popular one that a lot of people request, uh, but it's not happening everywhere. So Chiang Mai is a good spot for it. Talk to your travel specialist if that's something that you want to experience. But as you can also see, it's very crowded. So it's hard to go to one of these festivals if you're anticipating a quiet, relaxed trip because, everybody wants it. So it's tough. Okay. Oops, too many. So avoiding tourist pitfalls. So a couple things to just kind of start us off. Over touristy, kitschy areas that you want to avoid. Things that jump to mind for me are Khao San Road in Bangkok. I've been, yes, I've bought elephant pants there. Yes, I had a falafel, but it's everybody goes there. Everybody's read The Beach and they want to go there and see all the hostels and see all the people. But to be honest, it attracts people who are going to price gouge. It is not the best example of Thai culture. It's kind of been just a little bit too much. So things like that, we're going to recommend against. If you really want to go, that's cool. We could still make it happen, but so we recommend instead of going to Halong Bay, go to Halon Bay because it is less visited by tourists. You have to spend 2 days as opposed to one, but you get further out. So you're not just one of many, many boats. You're out and really experiencing the natural beauty more. Things like the Tiger Temple in Chiang Mai. No, 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 no. We do not recommend things like that. We take a lot of care to make sure that any animal experience that you have is ethical and environmentally sound. We're never going to offer something that is a danger to the animals or hurting the environment. Sukhumvit at night in Bangkok is a lot of fun, but it's also not the safest place to be if you don't know what you're doing. Beaches around Sihanoukville in Cambodia are overrun with people begging. Like there are different places that we're going to recommend against. Pura Lempuyang, the Gates of Heaven in Indonesia and Bali, is an Instagram just focused place where you might wait in line for hours to take a single picture. We're going to make suggestions to help you streamline your trip to get you away from some of the heavily touristed areas so that you can have a deeper experience without waiting in line for a picture. Again, though, if that is something that you're really interested in doing and it's going to make or break your trip, we can discuss it with you and help you do it the best way possible. All right, local scams. We don't, I mean, I'm not trying to scare anyone. This isn't a scare tactic, but we are aware of some of the common local scams. For instance, never take a taxi in Bangkok unless they have their meter on, because that is a typical scam there. Agree to a price before you get in, that kind of thing. These are tips and tricks that we know from experience of having lived there, having traveled there, and we will share those things with you during the trip planning process. We also have certified guides throughout who are excellent, and we do a lot of your transportation for you in these regions because It's not overly hand-holding, which I know a lot of travelers balk at. We're good. We've traveled before. We know what we're doing. Me too, but I don't want to take a taxi in Bangkok. So it's not a matter of hitting a certain level and being able to do all these things. It's more of a for your comfort, you can relax and not have to worry about it. Which areas are overcrowded and alternatives, like I mentioned, Instagram, famous sites, things like that. We can provide alternatives that are going to give you an even better experience that maybe haven't hit Instagram yet. Which activities suit you and your travel group? One of the biggest things that comes up time and time again is people ask, what should I do? And I ask them to tell me what they enjoyed on previous trips or what their hobbies or interests are. And some people get stuck on that question because they think they need to relate it to the country they're going to. You don't. If you tell me, I like art, okay, I'll roll with it and I'll make suggestions based on the countries you're interested in. If you tell me that you enjoy hiking or you like animals or, you like food, it can be vague and that's fine. We have the knowledge to help develop that for you and we'll give you suggestions that you can then select from to make the trip really personalized for you. Overscheduling. Sometimes I'll make a list of these are all of the options for what you can do in this city, and someone will come back and say, all of them. You can't do all of them, but we can help you narrow down. And we can also recommend the best times for you to have a free day or to just relax or do your own thing. If we see the pace of your trip is just nonstop, we'll discuss that with you and make sure that you have a breath here and there and that you're not in transit more than you are enjoying the country that you're in. Seamless route to make the best use of your time along the same lines. We're going to let you know how to connect the destinations you're going to, particularly in Southeast Asia, because there are a lot of small airlines. We're going to make sure that you're not zigzagging around and wasting time. We're going to make it as smooth as possible for you. And again, we've been there, lean on our experience. We know what we're talking about. So we're here to help you. All right, as the tuk-tuks. Tuk-tuks are awesome. They are wonderful. We highly recommend them. But again, agree on a price in advance and be careful because some of the drivers are a little crazy. So the hotel's usually no good ones if you're interested in driving in one or riding in one. Ethical and environmentally conscious travel is something that we care deeply about here at Global Base Camps. So some of the things that we really focus on is making sure that our guides are well paid to maintain the best guides available, but also take care of them because we don't want to underpay. We don't want them to not be able to make a living wage. We will not work with vendors or accommodations or local businesses to do not treat their staff with respect. We have stopped partnerships with different hotels and things in the past based on that. We want to make sure that you are able to respect and appreciate the culture that you are traveling in. So we try to give you information about language, about etiquette, about appropriate clothing and things like that if you're going to temples. In our pre-departure packets, we have a lot of that information to really help you be on the best foot when you enter the country. And we're here to answer any questions in advance as well. Minimal impact on natural environments. So we have information provided about not using water bottles during the trip, like not using plastic water bottles. In some countries, we provide a water bottle or you bring your own, and there are refill stations where you can get fresh water around different places on the trip. The hotels are usually great with that as well in Southeast Asia because you want to be careful not to get sick from having ice or something from a vendor. Again, some of these notes are in your pre-departure information as well. So let's see, highlighting local cuisine. Many of our experiences focus on local food, local people, highlighting the local cuisine so that our travelers can enjoy cultural exchange, provide income to families and businesses that benefit directly, dine on foods that aren't shipped great distances, causing negative environmental impacts. We want to make sure that you're eating locally, that you're having amazing food, and you're having the best experience possible as safely as possible. So, yes, you can definitely go and eat at street vendors, but your guide is there to help you make sure that you're picking a clean spot or make sure that, you're not going to have any tummy troubles on your trip. Never fun. Slow travel. Taking more time in destinations instead of zipping along to only the famous highlights of each country, it allows the local populations to benefit more from tourist dollars and for you as a traveler to deepen your understanding of the locations that you're visiting. It also lets you have unique experiences rather than kind of a cookie cutter copy of someone else's trip. It leads to fewer flights, fewer hotel changes, and more time really seeing the country and getting to know it. And local initiatives, we do our best to provide back to the countries that we work within. So one of our local initiatives that we absolutely love is the, whoops, hold on, this is the local cuisine. We already talked about that. Boop, boop, boop. Lovely pictures while we're chatting. Doesn't it look good? Um, so I'll come back to respectful travel. The Cambodia Water Initiative is one that was begun by my colleague Lauren, and it provides fresh water for up to 5 years for the local people. And I'll get to that in another slide in just a moment. So, speaking about local cuisine, some of the best meals I've had in Asia were street food, market stalls prepared by locals as part of a picnic or in a local home. A couple of standouts were in Inlay Lake. We did an amazing cooking class. I had a whole fried snapper at a random restaurant I popped into in Bangkok. Again, the toke, the salads in Bagan and in Yangon, and Lao Prabang has some of the best soups that I've ever had in my life. It doesn't sound like a thing, but soups for breakfast in Asia are out of this world. So, respectful travel, leave no trace, spend your money at local restaurants, kind of goes without saying. Uh, Learn a few words of the local language, buy things from local craftspeople. I really recommend against taking photos of people who are praying or who are taking part in a ceremony because that's their personal moment. That's something that is between them and, you know, their gods or whomever they are speaking to. So you could take pictures at temples, you can do all of those things, of course, and if it's in the background, that's fine. But sometimes you see photographers that are taking photos of people who are in the midst of a spiritual moment, and it's a little tacky, so we always want to be careful. And on that note, taking if you're taking photos of anyone, just get their permission. You don't need to speak the language, but get their permission, and most people will be absolutely happy to do it. Keep your attire in mind. We will go over this if you book a trip with us about covering your shoulders if you're going to a temple, not touching monks if you're a woman, lots of little things. Celebrate our differences. Don't be nervous about going to these other destinations and talking about your country if they ask you questions. A lot of people are really curious and want to know about you. So if you ask something about them, they might ask something about you in return, and it's great. It's a wonderful way to have a cultural exchange. Keeping an open mind along the lines goes with that too. This is a picture of our Cambodian Clean Water Initiative. So, what we do is we bring filters. So, we send filters to our clients who bring them with them. And you actually go to the village and you learn about the process. It's the Kampong Kleong floating village, about an hour outside of Siem Reap. The local families who receive one of these filters have clean drinking water for up to 5 years. So, it's a really, really cool opportunity to meet these local villagers, see their way of life, have a positive impact, and it's just a way that you can give back as part of your travel. See the difference in the water? It's amazing just what a little filter can do. So, we're going to talk a little bit about accommodations now. Accommodations are something that we really focus on to make sure that you're having an awesome experience and you're also contributing to the country and are environmentally, having a positive impact as well. So this is the Pumbatang Hotel in Siem Reap in Cambodia. So this is one of the first hotels in Cambodia to be certified by Green Globe, recognizing its sustainable initiatives. The villas are styled like traditional stilted farmhouses, so they have a unique cultural flair to them. Spa treatments embrace centuries-old wellness practices, so it's a cultural experience. Even getting a spa treatment, who could say no to that? And then the experiences that are offered are respectful and dignified and celebrate Khmer culture and beyond. So it's a great place to stay, and it's beautiful. This is the Plataran Borobudur Resort and Spa in Borobudur, Indonesia. I was there last year and it is stunning. The grounds are expansive. You have a personal butler. The gardens are beautiful. They have an area of traditional musical instruments that kids and families can play around with and just kind of learn while they're there. And the views over Borobudur are stunning in the morning as well. You can watch the sunrise. So this is the Chai Orchid Elephant Hotel in Mai Wang, Thailand. It is a secluded ethical eco resort. It's about an hour from Chiang Mai Airport, and it has a one-of-a-kind elephant experience called Elephant Breakfast. You can see the elephant up here is just kind of hanging out. They actually have an elephant bring you part of your breakfast. And these are all elephants that were rescued from abusive practices and allowed to live their lives out there. The food is locally sourced, the staff are all indigenous, and 100% of the proceeds from the hotel are donated back into the community into an anti-trafficking organization. So it is a phenomenal place to stay, and they do offer other experiences as well where you can hang out with the elephants during the day and things. Next up is the Havana Retreat in Hoa Binh, Vietnam. This Havana Retreat is gorgeous. It preserves its natural beauty and local heritage from the negative effects of mass tourism. That's why it was created. It has ethnic stilt houses that blend seamlessly into the forest, the terraced fields, and the valleys. The ethnic craftsmen from 3 minority groups in Mai Chau taught them how to make the earthen walls, the woven rattan ceilings, the roofs out of palm leaves, and they contributed their efforts to making all of that. 90% of the staff are local ethnic people, and they provide free training programs to help them learn about hospitality and stay in their homeland. So they come not knowing anything about hospitality. It provides an excellent income for them, an opportunity for a career, and it's a gorgeous place where they can stay where they grew up. The restaurants also support local farmers, seasonal produce to create one-of-a-kind menus, and they have their own organic chicken farm for eggs as well. All right. Whoop. So how can we help you? So a couple things to consider. Whoop. Knowing the region, we know the seasons, the holidays, we help you determine the best time for your trip. We work with 3 to 5 star level accommodations to match the type of experience that you're hoping for. If it's urban, relaxed, walkable, exclusive, luxury, or traditional. We are aware of natural disasters that are occurring, typhoons and flooding, etc. We're keeping tabs on what is happening with the governments like the junta in Myanmar, issues in the past in Thailand, things like that. So if we're recommending you visit a country, it is something safe. We are not going to recommend something that is dangerous for you whatsoever. And if you want to go to an area like Myanmar that has some issues right now, we can help you do it in a safe way. So we have this knowledge ourselves, but we also have our partners in country who are living there and are aware of every small thing that's happening, and they keep us updated on what's happening as well. So they're excellent. Then making sure that you're traveling in the most efficient route and have assistance with our in-country experts and our knowledge as well. So you're not only working with us, but you're working with our local teams who have a vast knowledge, have grown up, lived in the countries, and love it dearly. So we have all of this to draw from to make you have the best or help you have the best trip possible. All right. I would love to open this up to questions. So,
Lots of good questions for sure. I'll tell
Megan,
you right now.
all right, let's do it.
I'll just kick us off with one question, then we'll jump into it. But what about traveling with kids? What's your experience and what do you recommend?
Okay, so I am a mom. I have 2 kids. Yeah, you saw them earlier. You already know that. Um, I think that all of these destinations, you can definitely travel with kids. Depending on the age, I'm going to make different recommendations for what they may or may not be capable of, and also with their experience levels. But we have so many families that travel with us. And what we do is we just make sure to arrange the best hotels with rooms that have space for you and your kids, maybe a little bit of separate space for your kids so everybody can get some sleep at night. But we do a mix of fun activities for everybody, but also some rest periods for especially for the younger kids so that they're not overstimulated. We factor in a little bit of extra time for dealing with jet lag, and we cater to a lot of dietary needs or things like that as well with kids. So really, if you want to travel with your family, no matter how old your kids are, don't hold back. Please ask us. We have experience. Many of us have our own kids, so we know exactly what you're doing and what you're going through. And traveling with kids is such an amazing, amazing thing because it just really opens their eyes and it also helps you enjoy things on a completely different level.
I bet. I bet that's an incredible experience for you and the family. It
Oh, it's
sounds
fun.
beautiful. All right, a couple more questions. So if we don't get to everyone's questions, by the way, we're gonna follow up and make sure that you get your questions addressed accordingly. So if we don't get to it, we just want to let you know that ahead of time. One other question we got is where do you recommend for more culturally traditional old school Bali?
Oh, Bali. So I was recently in Bali. I've been to Bali a couple of times, and I stayed in Tulamben the first time, which is up north. It's beautiful. I accidentally happened upon the Nyepi Festival, so if you can get off the beaten path, it is awesome. You can get off like away from Ubud, and I say that with a love for Ubud as well. Even if you are staying in Ubud, we have experiences that will take you for a day in a local village where it's 100% no other tourists in sight. We did that and it was phenomenal. So you don't have to go too far. You could still stay in the bigger cities or the bigger popular areas and then do day trips to some of these more off the beaten path places. But it depends on what you want. If you want mountains, if you want hiking, if you want snorkeling, talk to us and we can help because there are some great spots. Or you might even want to consider the nearby island of Lombok, which is kind of what Bali used to be like years ago, if I can compare the two. So that's a great option too.
Okay, amazing. A couple other ones. Which vaccines do you need to take before traveling? Does it depend on what country you go to? Curious if you guys knew.
Um, right now, if you have your standard, sorry, I'm US centric. If you have your standard vaccines all up to date, you are good to go. Some people want to take malaria medication. I personally never have. I do heavily rely on DEET. I love some DEET because mosquitoes are for real. But that is everyone's personal choice. I have had folks take malaria medication prior, but it's not really a shot or anything you can take. I would speak to a travel doctor or even just your GP and talk to them about your personal needs. But as long as you're up to date on your normal vaccinations, you should be good to go. Yeah, for these countries.
Amazing. Last question. What would you recommend to someone who's traveling solo for the first time? Like, what specific areas or regions would you, in the part of this presentation, go to or recommend?
Any of them.
Lol
um,
and Henry.
all of the above. It honestly, it depends on the experience you're looking for. I think if you're nervous about going for the first time, maybe Thailand. If you just Thailand is going to be, like I said, the easiest landing. If you've never been to Southeast Asia, it has the most options going on, and it has the most, I think, ability to meet other people who are solo traveling. But that being said, if you're on a trip with us, you're going to have your guides, you're going to meet with locals, you're going to have these cool experiences, and then we can arrange some activities that maybe are small group activities. So your touring would still be private, but perhaps you take part in a small group activity on one day or another to meet up with other people as well sometimes.
Awesome. Sweet. Thank you. And is there one more slide after this? I want to make sure in case there's
Um, yes.
questions. I know we probably, like I said earlier, we probably didn't get to all the questions. There was hundreds of them, not hundreds. I'll go back. There's lots of good questions. I want to make sure that we maximize everyone's time being here. So if you have specific questions, feel free to reach out to Laura at globalbasecamps.com. We'll also follow up specifically for your one-off questions. We'll also be sending the recording and slide deck so you'll get access to all of this great information Laura was able to present to us today. Laura, thank you so much for all your information and just showing us all your wisdom
Course.
about Southeast Asia.
Of course. I'm sorry I can't make more specific to some of the questions, but we can definitely help you with that if you reach out to one of us.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thank you everyone for coming. We appreciate you being here and just attending the webinar, and we will be following up shortly. Thanks,
Thanks so
everyone.
much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.